mission is to see New York City's LGBTQ older adults and their allies in safe, welcoming housing they can afford with access to health and mental health services that meet their unique needs. The 2010 census projections out of the City Planning Department said that we were looking at a 40% increase of people over 65 between 2010 and 2040, so from 1 million to 1.4 million. And that is a looming crisis that nobody is really dealing with. So we formed in 2014. We are looking at alternative strategies. The LGBTQ elders have all of the sort of universal issues that older adults have in terms of poverty and failing health, but we have extra challenges. Mental health is much more pronounced within the LGBTQ older adult community than the general older adult community at large. We are more likely to live in poverty and worse poverty, especially LGBTQ folks of color, and especially LGBTQ folks of color of trans experience. So we are looking at trying to rally the community to understand the issue and come up with solutions within the community. So one of the big problems in New York City is the lack of buildable lots. So part of our charge is to look at alternative strategies, and we look at micro-design, apartment sharing, co-living, intentional communities, really anything that people are willing to discuss. To do any of these, we're going to need land use and policy and zoning changes. So organizing and educating the community is paramount, because none of this happens without a community demand. And also just because there's expertise out there, and if you don't ask the community, you won't avail yourselves of that expertise. So one of the things that we do is we operate on several tracks. One is building the Community Development Corporation, building the toolkit. We are now certified housing ambassadors. I've become a certified tax credit specialist. We're looking to partner with development groups to serve functions in RFP responses for the city. And then the other is the community organizing and education. One of the things that we do on that track is brain trusts, where we convene the commercial, nonprofit, and governmental sectors in discussions of new strategies. We look at these ideas, we discuss them, and then we look at the policy obstacles that would stand in their way. We did one last April. Our programming this spring got put on hold, obviously, because of COVID. We do it on two tracks. We do bricks and mortar, and we do health and mental health, because one of the things that we realized is if we're going to be successful at agglomerating LGBTQ folks, we're going to be dealing with exacerbated problems and issues. And we need to be ready to provide the appropriate services, which are not services that really exist now. So we did a bricks and mortar last year on micro-design, which, as you know, Chris was saying, is probably not the best strategy to be pursuing right now. We have on our board Matthias Holvisch of Holvisch Kushner, who designed the We Live co-living space for WeWork down on Wall Street. So on an afternoon, we had a 3-hour event. We had, I think, 30 architects and developers. We had 6 folks from New York City Economic Development. And we came together at We Live. Matthias did a presentation of schematics, much the same way that Chris did in his presentation, very theoretical. And then we went upstairs and looked at 2 actual models that are functioning, mostly with very young folks. And then we went back downstairs and did a mini charrette where we divided up into groups of 6, and our charge was to create a co-living space that the people in our group would be willing to live in. And then we actually started a list of the policy obstacles that stand in the way of being able to achieve some of those designs. But, you know, given the dearth of buildable lots in New York City, a lot of this is going to have to happen from repurposing and renovation. And there are a lot of office buildings in Manhattan that are vacant now, are not going to be developed as luxury housing, and are, you know, prime for the picking for affordable housing. So I wanted to just stress the importance of community education and organizing. and the fomenting a conversation between the sectors, because we often work in silos. So I'm very happy to be a part of this, and I hope that we can continue to participate with you all as you develop these strategies and ideas.